I want you to think back to this morning when you woke up and you got out of bed, right? So, how long did that take you? Let's be honest. How long did that take you to get out of bed? Maybe that's, I don't know, 3 minutes after your alarm went off. You just kind of lay there in bed for 3 minutes, trying to contemplate whether you'd get up or not. That's what I did this morning, honestly. I stayed in bed for about like 3 minutes and kind of thought about whether it was worth it to get out of bed at that moment, or maybe just sleep in for another half an hour, right? Or maybe it took you 5 minutes, maybe it took you 10, maybe you went back to sleep for 15 minutes, and then kind of had to rush to start your day. So think of how long that took you, and then think of how much faster would you have went if I promised you $1 million once you had gotten out of bed and completed your morning routine, whatever that looks like. Once you had gotten out of bed and taken a shower and done all this necessary stuff for your morning routine, I would give you $1 million. You would go so much faster, right? You would go so much faster if you had more motivation to get out of bed, right? To take that hard step to get out of bed. And that's that kind of idea of motivation and how it correlates to discipline and our willpower in life. That's what this video is all about. So I'm going to show you how to become basically a top 1% performer by magnetizing your lifestyle for consistency and for drive. So I'm going to teach you this exact process to kind of optimize your life for the maximum amount of discipline and willpower that you can even, put out. So I use this pretty much every day to pump out, this kind of educational content. I'm currently working on building an amazing physique. I don't have an Instagram or anything to point you towards, but yeah, you're just gonna have to take me at my word for me saying that right now. But maybe I'll update that sometime in the future. Post some pictures of myself shirtless online, right? And basically, I'm also using this this kind of model that I'm going to describe to become the most educated man I could be, right? And I use this model to read books, to take notes on stuff, to talk to people who are smarter than me, to get mentors, to watch courses and take notes on them. I use this formula basically just to learn from everywhere that I can. So we all hear about the necessity of discipline and willpower, but what really are those things? Well, discipline can be defined as doing the difficult things in life, doing the hard things within your routine, maybe, and just getting them done. Discipline doesn't really mean the quality of which you do them, but just, are you putting effort towards them and are you getting them done every single day, right? It's very similar to consistency in that way, whereas willpower is a little bit different. If you break down the word, right, there's like will and then there's power. It's the power of the human will, right? And that's the will not to basically indulge in the bad habits. So we have discipline, which is consistently doing the good stuff, and we have willpower as well, which is consistently avoiding the bad stuff. And they kind of complement each other in this ideal self-improvement lifestyle. So an example of me using discipline today could be getting out of bed, going to the gym, just doing all the hard stuff within my routine, maybe taking a cold shower, just plunges right in there. Yeah, those are all examples of discipline, but an example of willpower could be me resisting some cookies that somebody left out in the open and no one's going to eat except maybe me. No, I'm going to resist that. Me saying no to that is willpower. But where does willpower even come from? Well, I'm going to answer that in this video as well. So yeah, willpower is just avoiding the bad stuff in life, whatever the bad things are. So what people often don't talk about is that these only come when you have kind of an end result to work towards. So maybe I'm only gonna have discipline when I'm motivated to get an amazing physique, right? Maybe I'm a bodybuilder. I'm gonna hit the gym twice every day and never take a single day off because I just want to get like the best physique possible. I'm gonna train calves like just my calves for like an hour a day because I want to get the best calves around, because I want to have this amazing ideal Greek god physique. Or using that bodybuilder example for willpower, maybe I'm not going to eat like really shitty food, even if I really feel like it. And it's been a long time since I haven't eaten like, you know, a whole plate of cookies, but I'm still gonna put that off. I'm still gonna avoid that in favor of me building that amazing physique. And that's kind of like the ultimate hack to having discipline and willpower, right? Is you have this thing to align yourself with. So that's the solution to a lack of discipline and willpower in your life. This is what this video is all about. You must align yourself with a goal that is greater than you, that's greater than you are now, right? In order to have the motivation necessary to have regular and enduring discipline and willpower. So let's unpack that a bit. So what are goals basically? And well, maybe that sounds like a stupid question, but let's break down what a goal is, right? Because when you set a goal, you're aiming to become something that you aren't right now, right? That's why you set a goal. That's why you want something in the first place, and you set a goal to achieve it, because you are not that goal yet. You have not fulfilled that goal yet. If I want to make $10,000 a month, if that's a goal of mine, then that's obviously assuming that I'm not already making $10,000 a month, that I need money, right? So when I set that goal, I'm basically telling myself that I'm aspiring to be that, you know, richer person, that wealthier person. So that's just one example of goals where the idea really is that we are aiming to become something that we are not. We are aiming to become greater when we are setting goals. We are kind of setting up this ideal version of ourselves that we aspire to be, and I think that's a great thing. But yeah, that's what I think a goal is. So the more you're reminded of this ideal, this goal that you're aiming for, the greater your retention to discipline is going to be, right? So I think of because I don't really have a great example for this. I only have so much life experience, but I think of David Goggins. I think of David Goggins' autobiography, you know, Can't Hurt Me, where he's like 300 pounds and he wants to join the military, but they tell him that he's too fat and that he has a deadline that's 3 months in the future to lose about 100 pounds. Right, yeah, he has to lose like at least, I think, 90 pounds in order to qualify for the military in 3 months. So he has 3 months to lose 90 pounds of fat. And from what I remember from reading his book, you know, he just completely fleshed out his day with just cardio and exercise. He was lifting, he was swimming, he was biking for like all hours of the day. He would wake up, just go to the gym, just do everything. All this exercise, he would run, he would do everything. Just for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on end. And he would only eat like a little thimble of rice and maybe just like a little chicken breast, and that was pretty much all he ate. That was all he ate for like 3 months, and he just disciplined himself. He had the willpower to just keep up that extreme routine of exercise and self-discipline. I actually have to have self-discipline right now to look at the camera a bit more, but yeah, what Goggins did was just have that discipline and drive to just retain to that insane schedule of exercise where he would just be punishing himself with this cardio, just trying to burn off the fat for like three entire months. He did that without like any stopping, I think, which is just so insane that like this fat loser guy who's just doing like what was he doing, like pest termination for most of his adult life. He's now basically just cutting down to be a soldier, and he actually did it. It's just like the most insane thing ever, and like it's so inspiring. But putting that aside, like the obvious solution here and what we can glean from Goggins' story is that while he was aligning himself with the goal that he wanted to join the military, that was up to that point in his life, that was his purpose in life. That was the only thing he wanted out of life, was to be worthy, was to be accepted into the military. And he had to lose, and all he had to do in order to do that was to lose 90 pounds of fat, and he did it. Why? Because he was just so driven to become a soldier, basically, to serve his country. Just kind of have that status symbol, or like that symbol of honor. And, you know, I guess that sense of fulfillment that came with joining the military just because he wanted to, right? I mean, he definitely wouldn't have done that if he just didn't want to, or he didn't care about being a soldier. The whole fact that he was able to pull off such an insane feat is only because he wanted to. So this formula that I just described is universal, and I think it's really just intrinsic to human beings. Like, this can be applied anywhere at any time. This takes advantage of human psychology, or at least what I know of it, what I can tell from it. And basically, the absence of this formula, of this strategy, is basically just the reason that you feel empty, bored, and basically unfulfilled with life, because you're ignoring goals, because you're ignoring the motivation behind your goals, because you're also ignoring just the necessity of willpower and discipline as well. So yeah, I'll actually go over some limiting beliefs now, and then I think I'll get to some actionable steps that you can actually take in order to use this formula in your own life. So some limiting beliefs that people may have is that, well, I'll never be able to resist every temptation and hit every good habit all the time. I'll never be able to fulfill the standard that Goggins set when he lost those 90 pounds in 3 months and did so much other insane stuff throughout the rest of his career. But, yeah, that's what a lot of people say, that I'll never be able to resist that every temptation and hit every good habit all the time. It's just not possible, so why even try? And that's totally true. I agree with it. But you can't deny the fact that consistency is king, right? Consistency and discipline are very much the same. You have to consistently have discipline. So, what does that mean, that consistency is king? Well, basically, you don't have to have discipline all the time. What you have to do is be consistent. You have to be consistently doing the hard stuff. But, I don't have to hit the gym every single day of the year. I don't have to hit the gym 365 days a year in order to get an amazing physique, right? Let's say over my entire bodybuilding career, if I'm a bodybuilder, I skip the gym 5% of the time, right? If I'm training for 1,000 days, that's 3 years. If I skip 5% of my days, that means I skip 50 days out of the 1,000 that I dedicate to training, right? Am I still gonna have a very good physique by the end of that? Yeah, sure I am. Even though I skipped those 50 days, right? And that's kind of the idea here, that you focus on doing the work every single day instead of just putting a lot of effort to something from the get-go, right? People use that kind of analogy with the gym a lot, where it's like, oh, okay, imagine I'm just some fat guy, right? If I'm just gonna go and hit this 3-hour workout in the gym one time because I'm just super motivated, this one day I'm just super motivated to lose a lot of weight, I'm not gonna get anywhere, right? But say I'm that same guy, but I kind of make this resolved decision to maybe just hit the gym for half an hour today, and I think I'll do that tomorrow and the next day as well, and I'll just see how far I can go with this if I just work out for 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day, right? That second fat guy, despite being the same person, he's going to make more gains, he's going to lose more fat, he's going to build more muscle than the initial guy who just worked out for 3 hours, just once or twice, or maybe 3 days in a row. That other guy, that first guy, is going to make no gains at all. So using that example that I just gave, we can see that doing something consistently, doing something every day is a lot more important than just putting a huge amount of effort towards it. Say, I don't know, every 1 day per week, or every 1 day for every 3 days. So yeah, consistency is key. Better I do 10 push-ups every day than just 50 push-ups every Monday, right? It's just so much better. You can see an infinite amount of results in this based off of how people learn optimally, how athletes train, how people learn languages even, right? It's easier for me to do, like, I don't know, one little language learning lesson for Spanish, like, every day. Like, just one of those lessons every day, instead of say taking 7 lessons every week, right? 7 lessons just like per one day of the week, and that can be applied to everything else. So moving on, some people say that kind of lifestyle, that kind of David Goggins lifestyle, we're just being consistent every day, and where you're just devoting all of your effort towards your goals, all of your discipline, all of your motivation, all your willpower. We are just like retaining to something just so often, where you're basically just on the grind, for lack of a better term. Some people say that that's just too extreme for them. They just want to chill and enjoy life instead of grinding every day and, going through so much pain. But the problem with that is that people who say that are still indecisive about everything they want in life, right? They're not really sure about what they want, other than just, being happy and just being comfortable and all that cute stuff that really isn't going to last you that long in life, right? If you want an easy life, I'm sorry to tell you, you're behind. You got to fix that. You should not want an easy life. You're a bitch. I don't respect you if you just want an easy life and you don't want to go through any kind of pain for something that you believe in, right? You should never want an easy life. The people who just want an easy life are the people who end up broke, and the people who end up stupid, and the people who end up lazy, right? Because one of the best excuses for laziness is that someone just doesn't want to undergo any kind of pain. One of the best excuses for being fat, for having no muscle, for being unattractive, right? For just staying at the bottom of the well, at the bottom of the trench of life, is that you just don't want to suffer. And it's just so sad to see people do that. So yeah, people who say that should really come back to videos like this, should really start taking advice like this seriously when they're actually ready to do something with themselves. So some other people will say, I don't have to be this extreme. I don't have to live this extreme lifestyle. If I just want to do something small, like go to the gym more often. Well, yeah, that's kind of like the New Year's resolution kind of cope, right? Like I'm not changing my life that much. I just want to hit the gym, a little more often. I want to be a little bit more kind. I want to be a little bit more social, stuff like that. But the problem with that is that you should go look in the mirror right now and then ask yourself if you really want to stay where you are physically, or actually get shredded and become a Chad, right? Everybody wants a good physique, right? Everybody wants to have this ideal looking body where they look really hot and they can get women and they're a lot more confident in everything, but not everyone's willing to. Like I said, while everyone wants an extraordinary result from their efforts, they don't want to put in an extraordinary amount of effort, right? There's this thing that Arnold Schwarzenegger shares in his new book, 7 Tools for Life, and it's in German, and I'm not really sure how to pronounce it exactly, but it roughly translates into English as, if you're going to do something, do it, right? Kind of that idea where whatever your hands find to do it with all your might. So if you're going to commit to anything, you're going to commit your effort to any kind of pursuit, you have to put 100% of your effort towards that thing, right? There's no point in just half-assing it. Because if you're only putting a small amount of effort towards this thing, you're basically just wasting your time. And if your time is so valuable, why would you put so much of your time towards something that you're just going to half-ass, right? That's why you shouldn't let people just drag you into things. That's why you should live on your own time. I know it sounds selfish, but you're entitled to this time that you have on earth, and nobody should be able to steal that from you, right? Unless you're in prison or something, you're really entitled to exactly that time, because that's one of the few things you actually own and are entitled to in life. And how you spend that is by and large, how fulfilling your life is, what kind of quality of life you have. So yeah, just don't waste your time on things that you aren't willing to fully commit to, that you aren't willing to go all the way on, right? What other people will say, if I get my dream result, it doesn't mean I'll be happy. So, like, you don't really know that for sure because you've never achieved it, right? You don't really know how happy you'll be once you look like, once you have this 10 out of 10 physique, right? You don't really know how happy you're going to be once you get this dream result because you've never been there before. Like, there's no sense in trying to get something you're not passionate about. Plus, you have nothing to lose by following this formula, right? Because nothing ventured means nothing gained. You have to be you have to be willing to put some of your chips down with the necessary risk of losing them in order to gain some. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm advocating for gambling, but you can't expect to gain anything in life if you're not willing to sacrifice your time and your effort and your attention and your resource to it, right? That's called an investment. You have to be able to invest in something in order to get a return, and that applies to everything from business to relationships, right? Like, I have to devote my time and effort towards a person to foster a positive relationship with them that we both benefit from, right? That kind of philosophy, that kind of principle applies to everything. So, well, another excuse, I have a lot of excuses here because, let's be honest, everybody has an excuse not to do something. Another excuse is I don't have time to do good habits every day. So that's basically just your inner bitch. It's telling you that you're not good enough to get better, right? It's that inner voice in your head that's just going to keep you from improving every single time you try and pursue something. It's from negative thoughts, right? Napoleon Hill would call it the devil. And you can kind of take that however you like, but you have to acknowledge in order to become successful that inner voice is always going to keep you from doing actually meaningful stuff, right? It's always going to hold you back, and you just have to ignore it in order to find any level of success. So yeah, just ignore that voice, turn your brain off, and make time in your day by any means necessary to adhere to these actionable steps that I'm going to give you, because they've worked for me, they've worked for other people. I've basically just taken a whole bunch of success stories from other people, and I've kind of compiled them into this one grand overarching narrative, this one kind of formula that you can use for your own success, right? I'm giving you a roadmap, a hard and fast roadmap to success. So yeah, another thing, like one more thing people are gonna say is that it's too hard to resist bad habits. Really, it's too hard to have willpower. I don't have that much will to resist all these little temptations that I'm coming across every single day. So what you really have to do then is you have to reschedule your day. You have to reschedule your contact with the outside world to avoid those triggers, avoid those bad habits. You gotta stop exposing yourself to triggers like junk food if you want to build a good physique, or you want to get better skin, or you want to get better mental health, because junk food is going to take all those down with the seed oils and like this terrible addictive stuff that they put in it. Just research the ingredients on any bag of chips or any kind of crap that you would get from a vending machine. Just look at the back, look at the ingredients in that stuff. You're not supposed to be eating those, honestly. That kind of stuff looks like it would go into a nuclear bomb sooner than it would go into a clean diet, right? Maybe actually try eating like a human for once. You should avoid degenerate people if you want to get better mental health, right? Friends who may smoke, or maybe they vape, or they just don't take themselves seriously, right? You become who you hang out with. I think I might have talked about this before, but you gotta leave some people behind when you start going down this extreme route of self-improvement, right? You gotta start hanging around higher quality people, or at least listening to higher quality people, at least pretending that you're around high quality people. Because let's be honest, it's better to be alone than with bad company, right? And that's definitely something I've had to deal with, something I've had to struggle with, loneliness, and not really sympathizing or identifying with people around me, people that I go to school with, even my family, because let's be honest, self-improvement is a pretty lonely road, right? it's just a very small demographic of men who actually want to take all of their effort and put that towards improving themselves and not make these bitch ass excuses every day and wake up early every day and do all these good habits and go through just so much pain with the hope that there's an eventual reward to it. Yeah, so you have to expect to be. Sorry, this video keeps cutting out. My phone keeps running out of storage space, so I keep having to free up some space to film more of this video. But yeah, like I was saying, you have to expect to kind of be faceted of a lot of comfort and a lot of recognition and a lot of momentary expedient things for the sake of making these long-term gains that I keep talking about, right? So the last trigger that I want to talk about is meaningless content, right? Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, any kind of social media or like any kind of media in general. So this could even be like, I don't know, books or movies or basically any medium of content that people use to communicate with each other. So even text messages that waste your time or entice you to do other bad habits, right? We've all heard of death scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, where people have nothing better to do with themselves and they just scroll for like hours on end, and they waste years of their life doing that. As the wasted days and nights just pile up on them. So yeah, those are pretty much all the triggers, all the major triggers that people have to deal with, along with like content as well. Instagram fitness models, people. There's like softcore porn on those websites as well, on TikTok, and like young kids are being exposed to that, and they're getting addicted from a very young age, and it's such a dire situation. But they lack this knowledge that I'm giving you, and that's why so many people are going down such a wrong path. It's because of a lack of education about these things and how they're bad for you. Like, if they knew how harmful these things were for you in the first place, and they didn't just sit there like a passive zombie, they'd probably be doing a lot better. So, getting to the actual the actual steps you can take to incorporate this formula that I keep talking about into your life. So I want you to for step 1 to draw or print a picture of your ideal result in any kind of field, right? So maybe if your goal is bodybuilding, you want to build an amazing 10 out of 10 very muscular physique, right? This might sound kind of cringe, but you might want to draw a picture of yourself with like a beach bod, right? Looking very attractive. Or you might Photoshop your head onto like Ronnie Coleman's body or something, and then print that out and then put it on your wall. That's fine. That's acceptable. Whatever kind of floats your boat in terms of what result you want out of life, right? So I want you to represent your ideal result in some kind of picture, some kind of drawing, any kind of visual media, and then put that on your wall of maybe your bedroom or your kitchen or wherever you're going to see it a lot, right? And the next step is to go into, I don't know, Google Sheets, or I think Google Calendar is a good tool for this. But I want you to make a habit tracker with all necessary habits for success, and then put that on your wall as well, right? So again, using the bodybuilding example, if my goal is to get an amazing physique, I'm obviously going to have to lift a lot of weights, right? I'm going to have to lose a lot of fat, I'm going to have to cut, and I'm going to have to bulk, right? So if that's my goal, then I'm probably going to want to hit the gym at least once a day and maybe lift for, I don't know, an hour and a half. And that's going to be like one of my habits, right? Gym is going to be one of my habits. Eating clean is going to be one of my habits, so I don't gain extra fat and so I get the necessary protein to build muscle, right? So gym, diet, and then necessary sleep, right? Because you can't make a whole lot of gains without getting good sleep, obviously. And other habits such as just hygiene, body maintenance stuff, your day job, doing schoolwork, that kind of stuff. So you have habits for all of that. You've habits for every single action that's going to get you that's going to get you considerably closer to your ultimate goal if you do them every day, right? We call these the 80% tasks. These are the most effective tasks available, right? These are the tasks that they're quite hard, but they pay off in the long term. They're quite painful, but they give you long-term gains in the future. So again, for bodybuilding, that's just hitting the gym, lifting the weights, going to failure again and again and again, and just pushing like really hard, and disciplining yourself to eat good food, and checking off all the boxes in terms of like not wasting any time, so you can get proper sleep during the night. So yeah, check off every habit daily and kind of fetishize your dream result, right? Because if you're following the steps here, you have that dream result on your wall, and that's something that you're aligning yourself with. So it's also okay to adjust your dream result and like your everyday habits as suits your vision, because your beliefs and ideas are obviously going to change as time goes on. So let's say for the bodybuilding example, I want a bigger chest because I think my chest is kind of small, even though I've been using my habit tracker for like months already. But I think that my chest is kind of small because I've been training legs a bit too much. So maybe I'll devote leg day to like another chest day or something like that, and that'll be like another micro habit that I'm doing in terms of lifting, right? So it's totally okay to just change your dream results, change your goals as you see fit, because ultimately what this whole process is just getting what you want out of life. So it's totally okay to change what you're doing to fit what you want, as long as it's meaningful, right? As long as you're not being unrealistic or simply just pursuing, degenerate highs and that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I've done this a lot in my personal life. This exact process. I actually did this to start my own YouTube channel because I listened to a whole bunch of advice from other influencers on how to start your own YouTube channel, and I took notes on everything that they were saying, and I printed out those notes and I taped them onto my wall, and I kind of had this idea in my head, this vision in my head of being, this great YouTuber who has a big community, and I'm financially independent and all this stuff, etc., etc., etc. And I'm making habits out of that. I'm making daily business habits out of that so that I can get like that much closer to it every single day, because I'm doing these 80% tasks of filming and editing and making thumbnails and researching my niche. I'm not wasting any time here, or at least that's my goal, because I'm still getting better at this. Let's be honest, right? Yeah. So you can help me on that journey as well, just by watching, subscribing, commenting. Comment especially. I would love to see more comments, especially because I'm not that smart. I'm not really that good at making videos. I would love to get some editing advice, some editing requests, like, oh, maybe you could edit your videos in this way, or maybe you could phrase this a little differently, or maybe you can do this to kind of enunciate your voice or something. If any of you watching know anything about that I could do better, and yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you would share some advice if you think it's worth your time. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. Hope you're having a good day. If you found this advice useful, you can go watch my my videos on like personal responsibility, and I did a video very recently on the warrior archetype according to the King Warrior Magician Lover model. So if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed the advice I gave in this video, I'm sure that you'll find that useful as well. So yeah, I'll stop rambling. Go ahead and check out those videos, like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Have a good day.